This is how to create an effective counter-narrative campaign. Why a counter-narrative campaign? Why not present hard facts and point out the flaws in the extremist stories? Well, the key word in the last sentence is story. You cannot neutralize a story only with data. In the previous video, we talked about the two factors that make extremist stories successful: simplicity and emotion. This is because the human brain is hardwired to respond to and remember stories that trigger a feeling. Rational argument does not stand a chance against a good story. This is what a counter-narrative campaign is: a set of mechanisms through which you can build and share the opposite side to the extremist campaign. In other words, a better story. How do you create an effective narrative? It must create empathy towards the group the extremists are targeting through 5 key elements. 1. Structure. 2. Characters. 3. Context. 4. Character development. 5. Meaning. Let's take them one by one. 1. Structure. Use the same line of thinking as a classic story with a clear, distinctive structure: problem, development, resolution. Number 2, characters. You have to spotlight the heroine of the story, with whom your audience has empathy. You have also to show who is at fault, even if they're not people, but situations, laws, and contexts. When sketching an adversary, you should remember placing blame on the other is a tool of extremists, the ones you are trying to neutralize. Do not dehumanize people. 3. Context. Narratives can be deconstructed and understood only when they make sense in the cultural and social context of the audience. Create the setting and place for the characters that the audience can relate to. 4. Character development. A series of events is not a good story. Events that see characters change and learn are a good story, as these generate emotions. And remember, emotions are your allies. They make the audience crave to see what happens next. This keeps them engaged and creates paths in their brain to make them remember your story. 5. Relevance. You are not creating a counter-narrative for the sake of creating a well-crafted counter-narrative. It has to lead to a bigger picture and have a bigger meaning. Always keep in mind the injustice you're addressing and do not lose yourself in a beautiful story that leads nowhere. Between creating a good narrative and building an effective counter-narrative campaign is a small step. That step is to remember that you create this narrative to generate change. For that, citizens' engagement is essential. Use the story to create action. Provide your audience with a clear path they can take in fighting injustice alongside you. And the key point of a constructive, effective counter-narrative is to have a clear goal that you always come back to. This goal could be educate and raise awareness, reduce online hate speech, mobilize others into offline action, mobilize others into online support of victims of extremist action, create long-term change at the legislative level. If you clearly identify your goal, you will know where to go with that narrative. Remember, each goal triggers a different strategy. Once you know what your narrative is and what you want to achieve, the design of a campaign comes easy. The next steps are: 1. Know your audience. A campaign that wants to mobilise high schoolers will use different tactics than a campaign aimed at raising awareness among mothers from rural areas. 2. Select the form, medium and tone that are best suited for your narrative, goal and audience. You may want to focus on a graffiti contest, a series of testimonies broadcast on a local radio station, or an online treasure hunt. You may want to be funny or serious. The only way to make the choice that will prove to be effective is knowing your goal, your audience, and the story you want to tell. 3. Evaluate and adapt your campaign. Always come back to what you want to achieve and see what you're achieving. If things are parting from the track you want, tweak your campaign, adapt it. Now you know the basics of constructing an effective counter-narrative. Let's see what are the steps you need to do one brave thing. Watch our next video to see how to identify the narrative you want to counter, and then our next videos will give you practical tips to use available resources and maximize your impact. Stay tuned and be brave.